Hello, dear ones. May the Lord bless you all. I would like to share a dream visit that I had of the child Jesus, among the other things shown to me in that dream. So, after I share the dream, I will explain a little bit about the symbolic language used in it, as I was given to understand in the dream. Then, Jesus' words that he gave me after sitting with him and hearing about this and of his heart. So, first of all, here is the dream and all that was shown in it. It all began with the consecrated host. It looked so vivid. As I was witnessing it, I really thought this is actually happening in real life. I gazed at the monstrance which was on my bed before me, and I began to notice that the host had a yellow, wax-like color, not its usual color, and a few perfect round holes on it. The holes were no bigger than the size of your nail on your little finger. They were in diverse places, mostly at the edges, seemingly as if eaten or bitten by a bug, just as you would see round bites on a leaf eaten by pests. The next instant, the holes were not seen there anymore. Instead, red spots were all over the consecrated host. It was blood. Within a blink of an eye, the blood spots were now in different places on the consecrated host. It was a very bloody consecrated host. Within a second, I realized, while gazing at the dark, red, black, and blue spots, I said within myself, "Lord, this is your body. It's your back." Now is seen a clear image of Jesus' back on that consecrated host, marred with wounds and bleeding, just like at the pillar. The next second, I see Jesus' whole body. This was still coming from the consecrated host, but this time the image did not constrain itself within the borders of the host. I just saw his wounded body before me. He had his hands bound, wearing the crown of thorns, with no clothes on except his bloody underwear. The mass of wounds on his body moved from one place to another, moving across his whole body as if a typhoon seen from space in movement. Wounds were always on him, coming and going, swirling swiftly across his body as he was still and bound, with his head down. As I sat on my bed with my laptop before me, the image I saw of the wounded Jesus now manifested as a small statue before me, sitting at the edge of my bed, no bigger than the size of a medium bottle of water. The little statue moved its wounded arms, reaching a hand toward my direction. "The statue is moving!" I realized, stunned. However, on the next second, it was no longer a statue, but a living, breathing, flesh and bone, normal-sized toddler before my laptop, about 2 or 3 years old. At first, it reminded me of my niece, since the toddler also had curly, blonde hair and blue eyes. But I soon perceived it had its own features. It was a boy. The child moved around me in my bed in such a calm demeanor, engaging and moving around like a little child. My eyes followed, and I see myself asking the little one, "Lord, are you sad that I do not spend that much time with you?" I asked the little one in a gentle tone, as if you would ask a 2 or 3 years old kid. I sensed in that dream that I somehow did not spend much time with him as usual, which in fact, in reality, I do spend some time like the normal. It made me wonder. The child Jesus affirmed in such a childlike tone, seemingly sad for that absence. Our conversation was not clear at that point, even though I saw him before my eyes so clearly. I had to go around and ask some questions to understand him. Eventually I understood him that to first spend time with him and then go and tend to family and other things. That would be the balance he wants. The little one, our Lord, only said a sentence. "Above all, be the temple of God," he said. The temple of God? My mind wanted to ask him in a rush how to be the temple of God, but I restrained that question, trusting in an instant that the Holy Spirit will teach me this when the moment comes, day by day. I said to the little Jesus instead, "Thank you for being here with us in this house, Lord. I just thanked him, among my words, hoping that he truly likes to be in this family. The little Jesus turned his gaze toward me in such excitement and with such a wide toddler smile, it seemed an explosion of joy was about to burst off from him. Definitely he was enjoying being around us more than I knew. Right then, still in that dream, I remembered how Mother Mary Elisha said during one of our conversations that the Lord enjoys being with us in this family, in my family, in this home, right now. The little Lord's smile and such happy eyes definitely made it clear and showed it to be so true. More than true, more than I imagined. A few moments later, I saw myself on another scene. I saw myself presenting 2 canvas paintings to someone. One had 3 people in it. 2 were my relatives, and in the middle was the image of our Mother of Mercy, the one with the earth. The second canvas painting was in blue tones. It had big silver numbers in the middle, namely 0044. The whole painting reminded me of water or of rain, since it had some big dewdrops on it as well. I will tell you about it a little bit later. Now, still in the dream, I saw the little Lord standing beside my bed, wearing a dark blue vesture with slightly large sleeves, a robe similar to a little boy's Japanese kimono, just for you to have an idea of it, of its design. He was holding a candle in his right hand, and an empty vase, for oil I think, in his left hand, with the intention of about to bless us. Then, right from behind him, coming from the hallway, was an auntie of mine. She scooped down all jiggly and happy at the little Jesus, speaking to him so openly and freely, with gentle affection and boldness at his little being and cuteness. The little Jesus, still in a calm, peaceful attitude, smiled. Oh, so smiling. Hilarious at her, but he did not speak. He just smiled, but somehow a little bit retreated from her touch, as if shy? Can't see for sure why. Next, my mother is in the same hallway, and looking inside my room, the little Lord was now a teen adult, still in that blue robe, fitting for his body size now. One instant he was a toddler, the next he is a teenager, close to maturity, a teen adult. To my mom's asking who was this youth, I mouthed to her, Jesus, which is Jesus in our language. I was all happy for him to be with us and engaging with us. To add a little bit about his physical features, our teenager Lord, he had his hair light brown. It did not go beyond his shoulders, rather it rested on his neck and partially covering his ears. It seemed not so wavy nor curly as the child Jesus was moments ago. This time his hairstyle looked slightly slim, with some faint waves at the end, resting on his neck. His countenance gave you joy and peace, not saying much but smiling often, speaking only when needed, and allowing the rest to come off from his face. You could look at him and find joy about him being in this house, literally. Teenager Jesus, teen adult Jesus. He was not still. He was preparing something as he was moving around the room a little bit. He was around truly as one of the family. After telling my mom who he was, Jesus went somewhere because he was not there the next second. He disappeared. To their asking where he was, I replied, "He is in the car. Wait a little bit and he will be coming back to give us the blessing he intended." I explained, though frankly I could feel my flesh frustrated that he was taking a long while to come back from that car. But whatever he was doing in that car, he was taking his time for a good reason. I sensed he was tending to someone, taking his time for them. The final scene I saw before my eyes in this dream is Jesus' wounded body again. However, not in the Consecrated Host. The images were taken from the Consecrated Host, but they were now sketched on a paper, a sequence of them, like a vertical comic, of Jesus' wounded body. But what drew more attention to me was the last one. The Lord and I were at the surface of the water, still waters, and he no longer had wounds on his body, But what stood out the most was Jesus turning to the left and pointing at the sky, mentioning without words, "There is a storm coming." I saw this drawing moving, as if an animated photo. In this case, an animated outlined sketch. There was a storm coming. Clouds were forming in the distance. He was forewarning when he pointed that. I recall now another scene during the dream, which was, one instant I saw the monstrance broken in half, destroyed to the side. I had a consecrated host in my open hand. I was emotional and almost tearing up, for the host was beginning to bleed, forming a round red spot in the middle as I held it in a white covering or napkin, spotting it with his blood. And that was the end of the dream visit that I had. Now, to go a little bit on the symbolic language that I got from what I perceived in the dream, the holes in the consecrated host, the swirling wounds on Jesus' body, it gave me the feeling that all throughout the time, all throughout the generations, he received the wounds from mankind, non-stop, coming and going, like a mad storm. The Lord will let you know more about us in his coming message. The broken monstrance and the host beginning to bleed on my hand gave me the feeling of him being so neglected in the sacrament, so tossed aside. The practice of adoration was as if literally broken in half. The little Jesus around my room and in my home is how he loves to be inside our homes. He, the Eucharistic Christ, real presence of Jesus, under the appearance of bread, the little Jesus felt like a part of the family. When he made known that I don't spend much time with him, one way to take it is that his body, the church, the bride, does not spend quality time with him anymore as they used to, and the little Jesus felt hurt and neglected. He wanted their love and their presence near him, first and foremost, before all else. Now the paintings. Beginning with the number 0044, I initially thought that they meant 50 minutes until midnight, but it's already 00, which here in Europe time 00 means midnight for us. So it's past midnight. It can't be that. During one group call we had with Mother Claire, as I was in the meeting, and after I had mentioned this to them, it dawned on me that it's not 15 minutes until midnight, it's a countdown, and the time was stopped at 44 seconds. I asked the Lord in the Bible Promises book, and he confirmed it about it being a countdown. Then the big dewdrop in the painting near the numbers. It dawned on me as well that they are dewdrops from heaven, graces, mercies. Now the second painting was Mother of Mercy image with some relatives of mine, which lead a close relationship to God and to Blessed Mother. So you can say that my relatives represented the devout people. So you have Blessed Mother, the devout people, and the countdown stopped at 44 seconds. That's interesting. Number 4, now that I think about it, is usually defined as Mother Mary's number. I also asked the Lord about this thought, and he also confirmed it. So, the Blessed Mother and the devout people praying stop the countdown to allow a few more dewdrops of mercy and grace to befall on earth. Also the color blue, which was all over this painting. It means heaven for me. No wonder it appears so often in this dream. Both the clothing of Jesus and the painting, marking it as from heaven. Jesus switching from a toddler to a teenager can be defined of his relationship towards you. One instant he is a little child, in the next instant he is a teen near his bride-to-be. Because he appeared to be a teenager, a teen only when my mom appeared in the scene. So who knows? Now, Jesus being in the car, delaying for a while now. He was taking his time with the soul down there as we waited. He was not hurrying. Yes, he was aware that we were waiting, but he took great care to do the best he can to help that soul, which I sensed in me despite not seeing what he was doing down there. And about the candle and the empty little bottle, which was for the anointed oil, if I'm not mistaken, he was about to bless and fill. Can't say much on that one. So far, this is what I can say about the symbolic language used in this dream. Now, the next thing that comes are Jesus' words, which he gave me while sitting down to hear from him sometimes later, which will be on the next message.